guys, how's it going? Happy Thursday. So let's just get this out the way. I got a haircut. And when I mean I got it, I cut it myself. And it has been all the hype on my live yesterday. So much so that it completely took over my live. And all my comments are about this hair. So let's get it out of the way. I did the hair. I got a haircut. I cut it myself. It's not horrible. Apparently it was well needed. Okay, what's up, Melissa? Happy Thursday, girl. Okay, there's already 4 people watching. Cool. Hey, say what's up to me. I'm gonna go look on my phone. I did the hair. I got a haircut. I cut it myself. It's not horrible. Okay. It actually made me feel like I needed to get a haircut, like maybe way sooner, but it's all good. I admitted to having COVID hair. And actually, Queenie asked me, she's like, what do you mean by COVID hair? She's Asian. She has Asian hair. I was like, girl, like, look at what I'm wheeling with here. Okay. I just wanted to talk about that for a second. So what's up, David? What's going on, buddy? How is your Thursday? So here we are. What is up, Jesse James Swede? How are you? How are you? What's up, Doug Greathouse? Okay, I'm going to get going into this. First of all, shout out to my dude, Ryan Hill, who reminded me to come on this live at noon. So just a shout out to you, Ryan. Thank you for reminding me because I was doing something else and I would have forgotten. All right, so Thursday is freaking awesome. Love it. Okay, I've got the yellow on. I'm ready to jam. Here's the most recent thing coming up right now. There's always like themes. There's always waves. My job as the leader of launch is to start normalizing what this journey of entrepreneurship actually looks like. So what I want to give you comfort with, if you're riding the sales close rate roller coaster, which is very closely related to the revenue roller coaster, which is also very closely related to the cash collected roller coaster. Who has ridden the sales close rate roller coaster? Like 1 second you're closing like 80% and the next month you're at 10. And I'm going to write myself in here. Me. I remember when I first started tracking my close rate, which is when I get onto the online space, and I'm talking May of 2020, I was closing at about 50% rate. And then I got into June and then it went up a little bit. And then July was like 80%. So I got confident and I started thinking, oh, cool. Like sales is my jam. Sales is easy. Like, of course, I'm just going to keep going upward. Like, what was I going to hit? 100% close rate? So let's define close rate first. Guys, let me know if you're here. I thought I was going to look here, but I can't do both, I guess. Okay, let me know if you're here. So close rate means out of everyone that you offer something to, so you offer a program, you offer something to, how many people do you close out of the people you offer to? So let me give you an example. If you're talking to 10 people, we'll just do 10 because it's a good number, 10 people in a week, you talk to 10 people in a week, so you have 10 SSs that week. This does not count as follow-ups. This doesn't count if somebody has already been on the call with you before. You don't count them twice. It's just per person, per company, per person, however you want to look at it. So whether you have 3 follow-ups with somebody or 1 follow-up or 0 follow-ups and just 1 call, they're only counted as 1 person. Let's define that. The second thing is you don't count people against your close rate if you didn't offer them something. Because if you didn't offer them, there was nothing to close. They just weren't a good fit, or you figured out that they were mindset-wise not ready, attitude-wise not ready, or financially not qualified to be given an offer. So you also hold those cards. So let's say you have 10 people you talked to this week. There were 2 people who just weren't a good fit, so you didn't offer them. You probably sent them some homework, or you sent them to a different coach, etc. You did decide to offer to the other 8 people. Now, out of those 8 people, you closed 4. So then all you do is you take 4 and you divide by 8, you have a 50% close rate. This is generally how it's done. The close rate for you being an entrepreneur is completely different than if you have a salesperson on your team. If you have an advisor on your team, it's totally different. So being the business owner and being the face of the brand, even if it's not personal branding, a good close rate for an owner is really between like 50. Honestly, if you're the owner, it should be between like 50 and 65%. I also have some owners who close at 80%. I do have some people closing at 80%. So when somebody's closing at 80%, I'm going to immediately be looking at their pricing and say, you have a lot of influence. You're doing really great things in your program. There's likely a wait list. They probably have a ton of testimonials. They're very established as a business owner. That's how they're closing at that rate. So something's a little bit off. So we're going to look at those numbers and see if there needs to be a price bump that needs to be measured, and it needs to be up to snuff with where they are right now with experience, right? Okay, so that is to set the frame of where we're at. Now, the sales close roller coaster. This is a really interesting topic because I feel like people talk about the revenue roller coaster all the time. I made 10K in November, but then I made 30K in December, and now I'm back to making 10K in January. I'm hoping February will be 50. You know, there's all of this discussion. But what people don't talk about is, how was your close rate affected as you were going? Did you have a ton of leads, but you weren't able to close them? Or did you have a really small percentage of leads and you actually closed at a higher rate than you normally do? This is so important to understand. Is it your marketing, as in lead generation, lead quality? Is it a numbers game? Or is it actually qualifying these people and making sure you're talking to the right people who can actually benefit from your programs? And looking at other factors. Did you bring a sales team on? Did you bring an advisor on to close? A good number for an advisor closing is between 20 and 30%. You can see that's nowhere near 50%. So expecting your advisor to close as the same rate that you do is already going to set you up for disappointment. So you have to understand that you being the face of the company, it has created an authority, and you have different leverage, and you just have different experience with how to close. So you're not on the same playing field. So you need to know that from now. So riding this close rate roller coaster, first of all, you need to understand that it's normal. It happens to every single person who's out there. It's frustrating, but you need to know your numbers. If you are tracking your numbers, I'd love to have you track them month-wise of what your close rate was per month, so you can break it into chunks. And I also want a running tabulation. So for me, since May of 2020, when close rate became a thing, because I pivoted to being a digital entrepreneur. Before that, I had no need to do that. And my close rate was still pretty high, but it was a different game I was playing. So since May of 2020, now to February, my close rate varies between 58% and 60% on average as a rolling rate. So I've gotten to the point now where I'm pretty consistent. I know what's going to happen month to month. I pretty much know what's going to happen. Sometimes the weeks will vary. Sometimes I'll have a crazy week where everyone says yes. I'll also have a crazy week where kind of everyone says, I'll talk to you in a month or two. We're not ready for this yet. Even before I offer them. So they don't go against my close rate, but it almost seems like it happens in waves. The second I hear somebody say, I need to talk to you in Q2, I'm oh, I start anticipating I'm going to be getting that objection. What's up, Richard? By date and by month. Yeah. So I like to look at it by week of what the close rate is. And then I look at it by month. So I know exactly where January was versus what December was, etc. And then of course I know what my revenue numbers were. And I can start to see patterns, right? If my close rate for some reason takes a right turn and it's completely deviant from what I'm used to, that starts to set me indicators that I am off. And I'm telling you, 80% of sales is mindset and belief. So, did something go wrong in your morning formula? Have you not been using it? Have you not been outside? Have you not exercised? Are you not spending any time with your family? I usually do it this way. I looked backward. That kind of stuff comes up. Have you not slept? Are you drowning in client fulfillment? Have you just changed your prices and bought them up? Did you just have an unhappy client? So it's looking at all, did you just fire somebody? So if you look at all of these different variables, you can start to track why your close rate went off. And yes, firing an employee, there's still some emotions attached, even if you don't want them there, especially if you're newer to the game, or you like them a lot, or they're with you for a while, or just something disappointing happened. Your close rate will take a hit the next week. Okay? If you have a client who complains or asks for a refund or a partial refund, your confidence gets flicked a little bit. Even if it wasn't your fault, it doesn't matter. It still hits, it still hurts, it still does something to you where you show up on that call most likely needing to prove yourself harder than what the other person was expecting, which actually creates doubt. It creates self-doubt. Self-doubt has killed more sales than even hungry salespeople have. That self-doubt, it just like comes out through your pores, your body language, your mindset, how fast you're talking and telling them that you are really good at what you do. Yeah, Richard just went through this actually. So, oh yeah, I can attest how that throws you off. You can see that, Richard. You can see it in your pattern for sure. So the good news is a roller coaster has ups and downs. If you understand better the variables that are playing for you, you get to control them more like the roller coaster ride person. But what I do want you to understand is it's totally normal for this to happen, and you've got to be able to see outside of yourself and understand what is affecting me. What I see happen a lot of times is people immediately, what do you guys do? When your sales close rate tanks, what is the first thing you do? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to take a sip of water. I feel like I've just been going at it. Hydration. Okay, I don't hear anybody answering. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you don't want to say. Whatever it is. Okay. Okay. What happens when your sales rate, your close rate first starts to tank? Most people blame the prospect. So now tell me if you understand what I'm saying. Do you blame the prospect you were on the call with? Well, they were just a bad fit. But were they? Were they a bad fit? Or were you bad energetically that day at actually getting out their pain points, helping them see where you could help them, maybe necessitating a follow-up call because you know they're not quite ready yet and they need to sit with it, but you just like shove down the offer down their throat? So that's the first thing I see people see. So don't blame the prospect. Don't blame the market. When you do that, you give yourself permission to just like step out and say, well, it's not really my problem. I didn't do anything. So you close off any opportunity to learn from this situation. I never hear people say, well, I kind of showed up with lower confidence than I usually do because I had a client complain to me. Or, you know what? I noticed when I watched my Zoom recording again that I was talking really fast and I was telling them all of the benefits that they were going to get from my program because self-doubt had creeped in. And I really needed this sale. I needed the sale. I had a credit card to pay. I was worried about rent. I was worried about paying somebody else. My cash flow was off. These are the kind of things that we've got to address with ourselves because they're normal, but don't push it down in yourself and then say it's the other person's fault because you won't learn from that. You can still be in a cash flow pinch. You can still have not made a sale in 2 weeks and be eager and have like that dry throat where you're like, I need the honey, like that kind of feeling. Or this a perfect like dream prospect that like you would pay to work with. So then you get overly excited. I've totally done that. They totally got scared and were like, wow, she's scary. I was like, okay, too much. Too much. So you have to be in control. You have to be in control of those kind of things, and you have to know what those variables are. So if you are in a cash pinch situation and cash flow is up to your throat, you've got to let it go before you get on the call. So if that's by exercise, if that's by writing it out, if that's by doing some mindset, meditation, abundance work, you have to know it is not the prospect's fault. If you offered them, straight up, if you offered them, that means they were qualified and a good fit in your opinion. That's what I mean. When I'm talking about close rate roller coaster, this isn't just bad leads who were not qualified. These are people that you actually offered, so they were qualified. But then they said no where they had an objection. All right, so David is saying guilty. Well, David, that's step one. Step one is understanding that, like, if you're pushing that energy out, what's going to happen? If you start to blame them, you're going to have a little edge about you by the time you get on the next call with somebody. And that person, net prospect number 2, is going to be like, I don't understand, like, why is there that feeling that I can't describe, but this other person seems on edge, right? I was just telling this, I was actually just talking to Ryan about this, and I'm like, hey, listen, our entire job of being on a call with somebody is literally just to serve them. That's the entire purpose of being on a sales call. Whether you offer or don't offer, whether you close or don't close, whether they need a follow-up or don't need a follow-up, whether they don't need you. Like, there are times I've been on calls with people who are way beyond me. They don't actually need me. They might have liked me or hopped on a call for one reason or another, but they're like, they don't need what I have to offer at that point in time. I don't take it personally. I take it as like, awesome. I have somebody in my network who's like ahead of me in certain areas. Then I build a business relationship from that, business friendship. So if you approach your calls with, this is not a sales conversation, this is just a conversation. This is a place where I can give back, where I can provide value, where I can learn more about the world, the business, myself, and my prospect. You won't walk away as frustrated and angry. And what that does is it maintains your energy up. So when you do get the next opportunity that just falls on you, the universe drops on your plate, you're ready to go. You have a different type of enthusiasm and a really clean energy when you're going into that. Maybe an old me would blame the prospect, Ryan. That totally makes sense. It's normal. Like, it's normal. What have you guys done when you were little and you liked somebody and they didn't like you back? You were just like, I think you're ugly, or I don't like you anyway. It's like, it's human nature. So we have to, like, if we want to be better salespeople than we already are, we've got to learn all of these little caveated, nuanced things so that we can outwit our competitors. And to learn all the little things. Richard's saying, gotta know where they are in their journey. Absolutely. You gotta understand where they're at. If you meet them where they're at emotionally and understanding wise, I'm telling you that's half the battle, maybe more. After I got off the call, I was like, I totally didn't show up right. That's happened to me before, David. That's totally happened to me before. And there's actually been some calls I didn't show up right and they still bought. And I was like, man, I really did a crap job on this call. But this is where you leverage organic. They've already seen you. They've already heard about you. They've already watched your lives. They've already seen the cadence of how you post and what you post and who you are. So they'll give you a little bit of grace. They'll give you the benefit of doubt and say, maybe she had an off day. I still want to work with her. You know? So this is why you can leverage pre-suasion, pre-sales before they even get on the call. Anyways, wanted to shed some light to this topic. If you start tracking your numbers, be diligent about it, understanding your state, your energy, your exercise level, your sleep, your family time, your health, your vision of the company. You start looking at all those other factors, you will start to be able to hone in on, like, was I having needy energy? on that call? Was I showing up a little bit desperate compared to what I normally do? Did I even offer the wrong person who I shouldn't have offered? So all of those kind of things. So I hope this is helpful. Just know when somebody gets on a call with you, they are voting with their time, and it is immensely, that is, I think, something to be treated with immense respect. So remember the relationship that is happening here. They are also spending their time with you. So I don't treat the prospect like some, you're lucky to be on the call with me. Like, that's not my mantra. I think it's stupid. Like, I don't need to pretend like I don't want to get on a call with somebody. Like, I do. And at this stage of my business, I still take sales calls. So I like getting on the phone with people who I think I can help. So I don't want you to come in it like that, because then that, again, messes up your frame. You're like, I am holier than thou, and they are lucky to be on the phone with me. So you're just going to kind of come across pompous. And who likes that? Who wants to pay a pompous person? Not me. I don't like it. So at the end of the day, what sales is that they are believing in you. And so they are going to give you their time and their money. And what you are doing in return is you are giving them your knowledge and your energy and your time back. Okay? And the other thing that they're giving you is they have a belief in you that you can help them. So you have to understand who's giving what on both sides of this relationship. It's a reciprocal relationship, but there are different exchanges of what happens. One person spending belief, one person spending energy, one person spending money, the other person is spending time. You have to understand how all those pieces work. When you start to get into that kind of flow and you understand what it really means to have a sales exchange, you are going to step into these calls really different. You want to step into it with like an Inspector Gadget eye, like do 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 do, Inspector Gadget. Remember that cartoon? I love that cartoon. So you're going into it with that eye, with curiosity, an open heart, space for them. And I can tell you what, if you come on there genuinely with cleaner energy and you know your number so it can push down that feeling you're having within you, because you know, just as well as I do, being desperate for a sale and needing the sale super bad is the exact thing that's going to drive somebody away from buying from you. So you don't want to make that mistake, but you have to understand, and you've got to learn the other coping mechanisms of how to deal with these normal things that happen. I've even had people write out, I am not going to close this sale. I am not going to close this sale before they get on the sale. And then I do the 6 deep breaths thing. That's something some sales guy taught me. So I do that sometimes when I have no time. But I mostly just envision my vision of what the company is. And my vision of the company is not highly tied to being monetarily related. It's more like, can I help somebody move the needle forward on their business? It's just kind of a yes or no question. Sometimes it's maybe, so I got to find out why and what. Cool. All right, guys, I got to roll. I have a bunch of meetings today, but I wanted to honor this time. We are going to be showing up for our lives at a consistent time. Thanks to my team here, Melissa and Ryan, who are doing such an awesome job at keeping me in check and making sure I'm showing up when I say I'm going to. So if you guys have questions later, hit me up in the comments. If you watch this later, hit a hashtag replay. I hope this was helpful on your sales roller coaster journey, even so much to know that it is normal and eventually you'll get off the roller coaster. Things will start to become more stable. But when you have changes, when you bring in sales team, when you hire your prices, when you add new programs, when you have different ads go out, it might happen again. But just be prepared and know that in advance. Happy Thursday, guys. Go rock those sales.